Hello, welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. So, where did I leave off? At my usual time, 4:45 a.m., I woke up in my usual way and ran the course I'd marked down mentally on my way here. To tell the truth, when I was stopped by the policeman yesterday, it was because I'd been wandering back and forth in the same place. I'd been pointing out a possible marathon route. In other words, I woke at the usual time, ran at the usual time, and now I'm eating my usual breakfast menu. No different from the days when I was living together with my master in the mountains, my standard tempo of living. So I'm just going to do times 8 right now. If there is a difference, it's limited to the slight surprise I felt when I opened my eyes and found a roof over my head. Well, this is a good speed. It's okay for me so far. During my hike from Yamanashi, I'd gotten used to sleeping in the open. So when I woke up inside a room, there was a slight feeling of unease as I thought, right, I'm living in a dorm now. That mild discomfort hasn't disappeared. Even now, as I'm eating my corn cereal, it's hard to settle down inside a new lair until it's ingrained with your scent. Even so, I'll start living at this tempo every day from now on, going to school every morning, so there's no real need to rush things. If I actively spend every day packing myself with potentially useful knowledge, someday this sort of lifestyle might come naturally to me. The effort strikes me as a little troublesome, but as my master once told me, when it comes to your life and your women, a little bit of trouble is just about right. True. Speaking of women, they're a simple bunch, but that doesn't make them any less difficult to handle. I learned that much in my first year living with my master. In my master's words, when you're a brat, running fast is enough to make you popular. When you're a middle schooler, the guys who can fight will be popular. And after that, it's the guys with brains who get the girls. In other words, run, punch, and read books, and you'll never run dry. What do you think? Short and sweet, right? That was her theory, at least. The things she said were always ridiculously simplistic. Honestly, I ignored those words with a short snort the first time I heard them, but my master was a woman who put her beliefs into practice. Every morning she made me run, and every day she hit me with a stack of books. Although I don't know if she's to blame, I still run 16 kilometers every morning and habitually read books whenever I have free time. This person is pretty interesting. Sometimes she was harsh, sometimes she was sweet. She would emit an abrasive, overpowering aura at times, but every once in a while she could be so gentle that I thought my brain would melt out of my ears. Yuuji is interesting. It's interesting learning about him. It's also interesting learning about who he's talking about. That was my master, a woman with a sizable build who was nonetheless very picky about the little things. I've had a hard time dealing with large women ever since those days, but being aware of that fact doesn't mean I can fix it. It's not that I dislike them on a conscious level, but whenever I see a tall woman, I can't help but feel wary out of pure instinct. If you ask why I'm bringing this up all of a sudden, well, that would be because I've just been reminded that there's a large woman at this school as well.
としてなさいよもう。つか、ラメって言うの。
Since this place is a student dormitory, it's of course only natural that a community of students would already be living here, and it's entirely probable that they have their own rules that I don't know yet. Also, I'm a country hick fresh from the rural areas of Yamanashi, so it goes without saying I'm poorly versed in the customs and rituals of this land. I have no way of penetrating the depths of significance that might be hiding in an action that, at a glance, looks to be a simple case of bullying. What game's this? What are the rules? The puzzled faces staring back at me are familiar. It's the little girl / big woman combo I arbitrarily named the Cicada Sisters when I first arrived at the school yesterday. Who do you think? That's so. I suppose that means I'm irredeemably stupid. Please call me Moron Boy, as if we've been friends for 10 years, Cicada Sisters. I saw the pair of you from the gate yesterday. One of you was swinging a cicada around, and the other was shrieking, if I remember correctly. I'll see what I can do. Yeah, Kazami Yuuji. Good to meet you. I thrust out my right hand, but the tall woman in front of me doesn't show any sign of grasping it. She stiffened on the spot, staring fixedly at my face. It looks as though she's even forgotten to breathe. Something wrong? So this girl is tall to him, I guess. The big woman's frozen expression suddenly melts and she lightly shakes my hand. So I wonder how tall he is. It's an unexpectedly small but decidedly cold hand. Iris is a Greek god, and isn't Makina a Latin word? Literally translated, it would be something like Mecha Rainbow Goddess. What country are you from? Wasn't she speaking English just now? I see. Well, good to meet you. Hey, good for her. That sounds fun. I like traveling. Staring at my outstretched hand in silence, Makina clings to Amane's back as if trying to hide herself. What's wrong? I withdraw the hand I've been holding out toward Makina. There is no need to force her to deal with me in the first place, I guess.
いいのよ。そうやって甘やかすといつまで経ってもこのままなんだから。ほらマキナ、握手は？じゃないわよ。ちゃんと挨拶できない子はおやつあげないわよ。
Oh, it's okay. Is don't get any snacks supposed to be an effective threat in this day and age? Or so I thought. But hearing those words, Makina bites her lip tightly and extends her right hand toward me with a strained expression. I gently clasp her small hand and put on the natural-looking fake smile learned from my master. I'm Kazami Yuuji. Good to meet you. Her voice is small and marked by a distinct lisp. Her hand is as tiny as her body and it's hot like that of a child.
怖くないでしょ。挨拶だけじゃなくて他に何かお話ししたいことは？好きな動物は何ですか？
I like dogs. What about it?
へえ、答えてから質問するのね。
I'm not really the indecisive sort. I don't hesitate when I need to come up with an answer, even more so when I have an important decision to make. Compared to failing without even trying, I'd rather take action, even at the risk of a mistake. Are you mocking me? Then why do you laugh? I've heard answering a question with another question is a sign of stupidity. Yeah. Got it, moron girl. What a troublesome woman. I don't know, times 8's an okay speed right now. I don't know if I could do faster or not. I don't feel like being late on my first day. I'm used to waiting. I'll kill time sightseeing over there or something. I get that a lot. Well, I'll see you in class. What? If it's something I can answer. If you've got something to say, spit it out. No need to hold back. I see. I don't understand the thought patterns of large women. My master would probably say, if you don't understand by now, you never will. But my own thoughts are more along the lines of, even if I could understand, why bother? Well then, having said that to Amane, I'm confronted with the fact that there are no sights particularly worth seeing here. There's easily an hour until the start of class. I've obviously woken up too early. Well, still better than being late, I guess. Might as well wait in the classroom. right after I mumble those words, just as I begin walking down the hallway. What the... As I'm making my way toward the classroom the principal had described yesterday, I hear something resembling a scream. No, not a scream exactly. The heck? Although it doesn't seem to be an emergency situation, I'm certainly a bit concerned by this sound. It's dramatically out of place in the otherwise quiet morning schoolhouse. For the time being, I decide to approach. When I peer inside through the hallway window, I find a single woman shouting in the direction of the blackboard. Judging from the fact that she's wearing a uniform, it would seem that she's a student here, like Sachi, Amane, and Makina. Apparently oblivious to my presence, she continues her routine. After deeply inhaling. All in one breath, she firmly lets loose a string of syllables familiar as a vocal tuning exercise. While staring at the memo pad in her hand, she awkwardly but forcefully rattles off phrases one after the other. It seems like it'd be best to ask her what she's doing directly. This is the broadcasting club? In response to my question, or more likely my entrance, the woman leaps up in shock and draws back a good 3 meters. Oh. Desks and chairs clatter dramatically in her wake. No, I might have been hasty to assume that from the vocal exercises. The drama club seems plausible as well. You seem to be saying some kind of lines. Just as I'm getting ready to rephrase my question, the woman preempts me with her own. Me? Kazami Yuuji, I'll be transferring here as of today. Yeah. Nodding, I walk a few steps forward and stand in front of the woman. So, were you doing some sort of rehearsal after all? Sorry if I interrupted. Which is it? I don't quite follow, but if I start asking questions, she'll probably get even noisier, so I choose the path of least resistance. After I flop down on a chair, the woman mutters to herself in a low but perfectly audible voice. In contrast, she delivers her self-introduction with an artificial brightness. Huh. That's so. Initials MM, huh?
だからってド M ってわけじゃないんだからね。
Nobody said anything remotely like that.
あ、ごめんなさい。じゃない、そう聞きそうに見えたのよ。
Do you want to be called a masochist that badly?
したくないわよ。つかなんでそうなるの？
Quite an energetic woman. She drops the subject and forges boldly on ahead.
そう、私はこのクラスで委員長的なことをしているわ。だから何か困ったことがあったら私に相談してもいいのよ。
What does that sorta mean?
それはその委員長は他にいるからよ。その辺融通は聞かせなさいよ。
Fair enough.
何物分かりがいいわね。まあいいわ。それと
The woman's voice suddenly grows quieter.
前もって聞いておくけど、あなたは冗談が通じる方？
I wouldn't call myself an enthusiast.
聞いておいてよかった。
She clears her throat affectedly.
じゃああなたは私のことを特別に名前で呼んでいいことにするわ。本当なら様付けで呼ばなきゃいけないんだけど許してあげる。なんかまずいこと言っちゃったかな。テンプルではこれでいいはずなんだけど、やっぱり様付けとか言わない方が良かったのかも。ああ、もうその辺の、今のもう一回やり直。
You want me to call you Michiru? Yes?
そうよ、それでいいの、それで。
She comes to herself and nods emphatically, apparently satisfied with this result. Next, she takes a colorful wafer of some sort out of a small container and crunches down on it vigorously. What are you eating?
あげないわよ。
Wasn't asking, I was just wondering what those were.
ただのラムネ菓子よ。それがどうかしたの？
That's so. From the way you were showing them off, I was pretty sure you wanted me to ask.
うるさいわね。あんたに見せるためにやったんじゃないわよ。あ、なんか今のうまくいった。多分今のそうよね。結構良かったよね。案外私素質あるのかも。
I got a strange sense of deja vu from her phrasing just now. What was it? One of those long advertisements they put up inside trains. Since I don't ride them often, the few I've seen stand out in my memory. Right, they reprinted this idiotic article from a women's magazine about how to make men fall for you. Purposefully treat them coldly at first, in order to create a contrast for your affection when you make your move. 何いきなり考え込んでるのよ。こういう時はなんだっけ。私の美しさにぼーっとなっちゃう気持ちも。で、それってなんか違うキャラよね。そうじゃなくて、その。 So you're supposed to be a tsundere?
違うわよ。いや、違う。そうなんだけどって。嘘。いきなり言っちゃうわけ、それ。
Michiru covers her mouth with her left hand and staggers backward in apparent shock. Her reaction is a bit puzzling, but I think I probably hit the bullseye. I see. I think I understand. You're playing a tsundere in an attempt to attract male attention, yes? But there's still some points I'm not clear on, like that hair. Why are you bleaching it? Please, a genuine blonde has a more natural tone, not that artificial looking gold color. I've known a few. That's so. Next time I happen to visit America, remind me to pick you up some better hair dye. So, as I was saying, why bleach it? And that hairstyle is a little odd too. It's not one I see that often. The way what has to be? Michiru begins to mumble her words under her breath as if to enumerate the curse's power. That she has to describe the tsundere curse in the first person seems a bit strange, but pointing that out would only prolong this, so I leave it be. Michiru jabs out an index finger in my direction, and... As she runs out of breath in grand style, the curtain finally drops on Michiru's one-woman show. The echoing of her ragged breathing is the only sound in the otherwise silent classroom. Exactly 30 seconds pass. It's tough being a tsundere. Got it. I'm not sure if that wasn't what she was looking for, or if she's just lost the will to go on, but Michiru glances at me while emitting a sound reminiscent of a malfunctioning industrial machine. Anyway, let's get along, Michiru. Yeah, goes without saying. I plan to get along just fine on my own. It really isn't easy being a tsundere, is it? Finally breaking down, Michiru begins flinging waste paper, permanent markers, and anything else lying around in my direction in an attempt to drive me off. Are you crying? Sorry, my bad. My attempt at an apology seems to only have fueled her anger, so in the end I decide a temporary withdrawal is in fact called for. Class is starting in another 15 minutes, but it should be fine. I'll just kill some time somewhere. Let's do it. 5 minutes before the start of class, practically the moment after I enter the classroom, Amane and Sachi arrive. The tsundere from earlier is looking at me with naked aggression, but noticing the arrival of the others. Resuming the performance in question, she promptly calls out to them. The instant her greeting is returned, Michiru runs over noisily and shakes her hands in front of Sachi. Michiru, while glancing over in my direction for some reason, desperately entreats Sachi. Amane, leaning on a desk, seems to be occupied with trying to hold in her laughter. The instant Michiru speaks, Sachi's tears abruptly vanish as if someone threw a switch. Michiru watches her cautiously, sweating heavily. Michiru staggers her way back to her seat. With all the vitality of a limp rag. You feeling alright, Michiru-sama? Sorry, just wanted to give it a try. Michiru collapses weakly onto her desk. Makina's lisping voice sounds from the rear of the classroom. Seems like she might not be used to my presence yet, judging from the way she beelines straight for Amane, hides herself behind her, and steals glimpses at me.
Makina, 大丈夫よ。ちょっとムカつくとこもあるけど、こいつはそんな危ない人間じゃなさそう。
Appreciate it, Michiru.
別にあんたのためにしたわけじゃないわよ。決まった！今のは綺麗に決まった！
Keep up the good work. Apart from the large women, this bunch seems to present quite a variety of communication difficulties. Nothing but fantastically normal students here, principal. As if in response to my sarcasm with the chiming of the opening bell, the perfectly normal principal appears before my eyes. Wait a second, there's only 4. As we have arrived at the beginning of the school day, I notice a difference from the information I'd heard yesterday. Standing at the podium, the principal notices the irregularity at a glance. Her tone seems to be asking if anyone's familiar with the circumstances.
人じゃないかしら。ここんとこずっとそうだし。確かに最近は夕方からしか来なくなっちゃったわね。ユミちゃんどうしたのかな。何かあったんでしょうか。
Apparently, I'm not the only one with questions about our own Chiron.
まあいいわ。風見くんの紹介もしたかったけど、そのうちに会えるでしょう。
You're strangely tolerant.
ちょっといろいろとあってね。じゃあ出席を取ります。
From an open window, the scent of the tide flows into the room. Perhaps because of the walls and steel fences surrounding us on all sides, it's not always easy to remember that this place is in fact close to the sea. In contrast to the breeze and the blue sky's intimations of freedom, the gray of those jutting fences speaks of denial and rejection. Jeez. While my classmates raise their voices energetically, I pass the time staring into that sky. School life, huh?
ここが視聴覚教室です。すべての席にリスニングとヒアリングの機材が揃えられていて、語学学習にも適しています。
Looks that way. I can tell from a glance that this place is well equipped. Using the time after the homeroom period, I'm getting a small introduction to the school's facilities from Sachi. Normally this would be the principal's job, but she seems to be occupied with official duties, so I end up getting another tour from our class rep.
ライブラリはすべて外部にあるサーバーと高速回線でつながっていて、いつでも短時間で検索し鑑賞することができます。だからここには DVD とかブルーレイとかは一本もないんです。
Which would make checking a movie out impossible, I guess.
そうですね。Amaneさんはそれで前に残念がってました。
Sachi smiles a bit wryly as she speaks. Most of this stuff is probably in that pamphlet somewhere, but Sachi's explanations are comparatively to the point, clear, and easy to understand. It seems she's actually quite intelligent.
過去に放送されたテレビ番組も全部ではありませんが鑑賞することができます。ないものについては請求して承認されればサーバーに入れてもらえますので。
Looks like they weren't that sloppy on the casting after all.
何のドラマの話ですか？
The school drama currently being broadcast.
以上になります。
Having completed a general review of the school's facilities, Sachi's explanation comes to an end. Thanks. It was a big help.
いえ、これもクラス委員の仕事ですから。
I guess so.
それより風見さんはまだここに残るんですか？
Yeah, there's still a classmate I haven't met yet, after all.
そうですね。
Hearing my response, Sachi's brisk tone gives way to a hesitant mumble.
い
What?
え、なんでもないです。すみません。
After a brisk bow, she quickly runs off down the hallway. Did I trigger a death flag just now? I don't think there's a single person in the world who wouldn't worry after that kind of ominous foreshadowing. Well, that might be an overstatement. There are some pretty carefree people out there. I'm just not one of them. Seems like it would be best to be on my guard, or more so than usual. The light flooding in through the windows has shifted from overhead to my side. It won't be that long until the sun sets. After parting from Sachi, I walk the empty hallway alone. My surroundings are very nearly soundless, thanks to my habitually quiet footsteps. However, inside the stillness, I sense a definite presence at my destination. She finally show up? I hear a faint sound from the interior of the previously silent classroom. With that confirmation, I slowly open the door. The moment I enter the classroom, tension fills the air. Behind a window seat desk in the middle of the classroom, a chair rattles as its occupant turns to face me. My immediate impression of the girl: she doesn't appear particularly friendly. Yo, while it might not be the most polite first greeting, I call out casually as I approach in order to demonstrate my lack of malicious intent. Sakaki Yumiko, right? Her expression doesn't change. Sitting on the chair, absolutely stock still, she stares fixedly at me. I'm Kazami Yuuji. I'm a new student here as of today. I come to a halt in front of her desk. So I'll be your classmate as well, it seems. Pulling out a chair from the desk in front of her, I sit down. At the moment, we're about a meter apart. Nonetheless, the woman stares at me so tensely that she seems to be forgetting to breathe. Rather than staring, her expression could probably be more accurately described as glaring. I wasn't able to introduce myself in the morning. Heard you'd probably be around in the evening. I keep talking regardless, but no response is forthcoming. Maybe she's got a psychological problem with men, like Makina. But then again, she didn't try to run when I approached her. I changed my position on the seat to face her directly. Straddling the chair, I lean forward slightly. The motion has closed the 1 meter gap between us down to about 70 centimeters. I'd like to at least confirm your identity. Hey, as if to declare her refusal to acknowledge my existence, the woman stands from her seat and briskly moves to exit the classroom. How about at least responding to me? I follow her immediately. The woman opens the classroom's rear door just enough for one person to pass and tries to slip her way outside. Hey, calling out again, I try to follow her through that gap. In that moment, the woman forcefully slams the door shut. She quickly closed it, knowing full well I was trying to follow. Her expression betrays surprise. Maybe she'd been expecting me to get my hand caught in the door, or back off from having it slammed in my face. Instead, the door she'd attempted to slide closed is firmly held open by my hand, an outcome she apparently hadn't been prepared for. You could have broken my hands, you know that? Although she's the one who is trying to shatter my fingers, she's glaring at me like I'm the bad guy here. What exactly did I do to deserve this from someone I've just met? I'm just looking for an introduction. Opening the half-shut door, I take a step forward. She doesn't back down. Quite the greeting. I stop the motion of her hand about 5 centimeters before its target. It isn't the most efficient block, but for the purpose of diffusing her reckless hostility, an easily comprehensible action seems necessary. I was expecting something of the sort, but you favor the classic slap to the face, I see. Maintaining my grasp on the woman's wrist, I stare her down at short range. As for the woman, she's staring right back, her eyes open wide with shock, completely still. Well then, let me ask you again. The strong orange glow of the evening sun illuminates the classroom. Are you Sakaki Yumiko? Her expression hostile as ever, the woman slowly opens her mouth. With an air of slight resignation, but clearly unwavering in her refusal of any relation with me, she speaks. Okay, good to meet you. As the evening sun fell behind a cloud, its light dimmed, and the classroom filled with shadow. With the sound of Yumiko's breath and the faint roar of the waves from beyond the walls. The curtain was raised on my normal student life. Yay! Oh. Oh. That building just blew up. Well then. Wow. They have height, measurements, birthday. Okay. Yay, awesome. Alright, a little more. Period of the school day before classes begin is fundamentally blank, meaningless time. They say it's always best to arrive 20 minutes early, but preparing for a class takes 60 seconds at most. After that, there's not much to do other than wander around awkwardly. Still, I've always imagined school life as a fairly relaxed experience. A part of me was actually wondering if a little aimless downtime might be enjoyable in its way. But unfortunately... What, again? That slightly pitiful fantasy was shattered all too quickly. Of course, I'm not going to break a sweat from any attack of Yumiko's, but being slashed at with a blade isn't the kind of pleasant breather I had in mind. I guess she had thought it a particularly well-timed attack, judging from the shot gaze she's directing at me as she catches her breath. Did this girl try to stab me? Of course, given that conspicuous clicking sound and her plainly audible footsteps, she might as well have been screaming, "Here I come," but... Time moves at half speed in my immediate vicinity. Giving a straight answer would be a pain, so I pull something out of my butt. Yeah, I'm just screwing with you. Maybe it's just me, but I think trying to stab your classmate is somewhat worse. This woman's copy of the criminal code seems to be missing the page of attempted murder. But judging from the way she momentarily bought my nonsense, she's unexpectedly airheaded, maybe a bit naive would be the nicer way to put it. There's only 6 of us here, it would be hard to forget. Still glaring in my direction, Yumiko retracts the blade of her box cutter. And snorting in displeasure leaves with a flutter of her skirt. When I return to the classroom, Amane strikes up a conversation. I guess the story of the knife assault in question is already spread around the classroom, as my problem with Yumiko seems to be common knowledge. It's not like she's doing me any harm, but I can't say I'm enjoying this. In our first encounter, I approached the stubbornly silent Yumiko in a physical sense. The outcome was her initial act of rejection. In part, that might have been the result of my own heightened awareness. Sachi's heavy-handed foreshadowing put me on guard, and I have a tendency not to trust someone I'm meeting for the first time. At that time, while I certainly felt animosity from her, it wasn't so intense as to discourage me from approaching. I don't know if we're gonna get along very well. However, from our second encounter on, Yumiko bared open hostility toward me. What's worse, apparently having come to the conclusion that she was for me bare-handed, she's been swinging around a box cutter of all things. According to Amane, it seems that Yumiko has something of a habit of brandishing retractable knives at people. Of course, her goal is usually more intimidation than anything else, but speaking as the target this time, I can sense there's a part of her that's seriously trying to stab me. It's not the best feeling in the world. I can't believe this.
として認められたってことじゃないのかな。あの子、うちらには医学の意味で歯を出したりはするけど、本当に切りつけたりはしないし。
I don't to avoid that kind of recognition.
無理やり接近しようとするからよ。近寄ってわからなかった？あの子の周りに強烈に張られたバリア。
I don't understand. Didn't notice.
ユージ君って強そうに見えるけど、鈍感な命取りになりそうね。
I'm pretty perceptive when my life's in danger, but I don't really feel that level of threat from Yumiko. I don't understand how that counts as greeting someone. My master did say I was exceptionally unskilled in that department. At any rate, I want to do something about Yumiko's aggressive rejection of me. For that purpose, I'll need to talk to someone familiar with her circumstances. With the attendance book in her hand as usual, our carefree principal appears. I'd like to talk to whoever Yumiko has grown up with to know why she thinks slicing someone is a good greeting for someone. I guess dear, oh no. What? Is the only one, Chizuru is the only one I can ask. Conclusion, Yumiko seems to hate me with a passion. Okay, I'm just gonna talk to her and then I'll be done. Talk to her here. Let's hear it then.
事情を知っていて暇そうなのは学園長ぐらいしかいないと思ったから聞きに来たって。わざわざ宣言して部屋に入ってくるとか何考えてるのよ。
I only said what I was thinking. Was I wrong?
違うわよ。一応。
Got it. In deference to your feelings, no matter how much I think you're lazing around, I'll keep it quietly buried in my heart from now on. Good enough? What do you want from me? Spare me the vague complaints. What's your pleasure? Do you have an idea? The principal, cup in hand, lowers herself across from the sofa I'm reclining on.
Sakaki-san wa この学園の創設以来の学生なの。
This place just opened recently, right?
ね。一応学園の設立は今から1年前ぐらいだから、彼女はその時からここにいるのよ。
I see. What does that have to do with her rejecting me? Before responding to my question, she takes a sip of coffee from the cup in her hand.
自分のテリトリーに入ってくるのが怖いんでしょ。
Frightening?
そう。これまでは自分の認識できるものしかここには来なかったのに、いきなり異性のそれも得体の知れない人間。
And the first thing she does when she sees him is try to stab him. Principal Tachibana takes a pen in her empty hand and shoves it toward me to emphasize her point.
なので排除しようとしたってことじゃないかしら。
Hazing, is it? A bit of bullying comes with being a fresh recruit, but I didn't expect the same here.
いじめにしてはいじめられる側が強力すぎるけどね。
Apparently unconvinced by the idea of Sakaki stealing my lunch money, Principal Tachibana hides a snort of laughter behind her hand. Although it's certainly amusing considering the balance of our physical strength, I don't see how I can manage a decent student life at this rate. I'm honored to have provided a moment of amusement for our perpetually overworked principal, but I came here hoping to have a path toward overcoming this challenge illuminated by your educational guidance. Yeah. So wordy.
実は私をいじめる目的でここに来たんでしょ。
Cranky from beginning to end, ultimately the principal didn't provide me with any useful advice. This is what a school is like, so figure it out for yourself. A normal school life means a few problems like this. I do have to admit she managed to dodge the issue reasonably well with that last line. In any case, since she didn't have any clear answer for me, I'm left with no choice but to do as she says and try to work on this over time. It's not really my style to go with the flow like this, but if that's the proposal of my educational guide, there's no helping it. Sweet. I guess she's still attacking me here. Okay. Hey,
最初はハラハラしましたけど、こうなってくると緊張感のかけらもないですよね。どうして？
The result of going with the flow, Yumiko's attacks have been continuing, without any particular change to date.
Yuuji もしっかり相手しちゃうから。
Look, could you quit it already?
うるさい。
Her movement's thrown off by my sudden sidestep. Yumiko staggers forward unsteadily. She tries desperately to regain her balance, resulting in a ridiculous pose in strong contrast with her usual haughty demeanor. Michiru lets out an involuntary giggle at the spectacle. She's instantly pierced by Yumiko's furious glare. Furious. Ignoring Michiru as she cowers behind her desk. Yumiko storms out of the classroom in a towering rage. Ah, she's gone. Good.
ずっとリプレイを見せられているようです。怖かった。何よあの目。相変わらず人を凍えさせるのに十分な威力を持ってるわよ。チルチルにはきっと血の報復があるのよさ。ちょっとやめてよマキナ。お楽しみに。お楽しみにじゃねえ。
She's like this one we're very familiar by now, with the exception of Michiru. Everyone seems perfectly calm. Even if this little routine doesn't bother them, as a directly concerned party, it's problematic. Hey, Amane. In response to my call, she points to herself with her index finger, silently asking me? When I nod, she approaches in her usual pointlessly sexy way.
何どうしたの？榊さんとの対戦格闘に疲れたから、私の胸の中で安らぎたくなった？
I'm sorry, do you actually want me to treat you like a sex worker?
ユージ君がそれを望むのなら、そういう日があってもいいかな？
I'll be sure to keep that offer in mind, but that's not what I need today.
Huh? 何なの?
You've known her, Yumiko, for a long time, right?
そりゃ確かに多少は他の子よりかは付き合いも長いけど。
Any ideas about the reasons he's rejecting me this intensely?
ごめん、わからない。ああいう子でしょ。正直、事務的なこと以外に話す機会もあまりないのよね。
I see.
ユージ君も来たことだし、これから少しずつ話とかできればとは思うけど、今は私もほぼデフォルトに近い状態なのよね。
Certainly, Yumiko hardly seems the type to open up and reveal herself to someone just because they've known each other a while. I guess I'll have to find a solution myself after all. Thanks anyway. Let me know if anything comes to mind. Awesome. Next to the classroom. Okay. Stop the auto. And then what it said was those words. I moved to exit the classroom. Okay. If Yumiko's rejection continues to take this form, I'll have no choice but to ask the principal's advice again. That's good. Okay.